So I was dressed up as a very slutty Malibu Barbie earlier, but my tits kept falling out, so now I just look like every girl that's on her phone at Starbucks. So that's good. Also, my kid sister's here, and she would go and tell my dad. So she's the one that, she looks just like me. She's really petite and tiny and brunette and half Mexican. So my dad had a lot of things, but a type in women wasn't one of them. So she's over there if you can find her, blushing terribly. I am recently out of a relationship, but I feel like that's the homeostasis here in LA for me. Like, I'm more out of a relationship than I'm ever in one. So what I really enjoy is, though, after you get out of a bad breakup, who you start dating after that. Because I feel like we all lower our bar, right? Because you just got kicked off Everest. That's what happened. That's your, like, Ryan Goslings, your Margot Robbies. So you're not going to be aiming for Everest anymore. You're going to be hanging around, like, Fryman and Runyon Canyons, right? That's who you're going to start dating to play it safe, okay? Or if you're me, you lower the bar even further, parking lot at Chipotle, okay? Essentially, I start dating Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings, but it's fine. Here's the difference with the genders, though. So men, when other men date the lower bar people, right, they don't call their boys out on it. Nobody's going to go up and be like, hey, Jeff, bro, I didn't know if you knew this, but you're dating the troll from Three Billy Goats Gruff. Do you know that? No, they don't say that. He's just like, man, Jeff's getting laid. That's where our bar is. Cool, bro. That's it. Women, we don't do that shit. I was going out of a really bad breakup, and I call my girlfriends 2 weeks after this terrible breakup, and I'm like, you guys, I met this guy. I think you're really gonna like him, and I think he's the one. I know it seems fast, but I think it's, and they're like, yeah, why don't you bring him to the bar? Let's meet him. And I'm like, cool, you're really gonna like him. I walk in with fucking Gollum, okay? And I'm like, he's the one. And they're like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, here I am dragging Gollum in, right? No more than 60 seconds goes by before my girlfriends have come up, separated us, sent him home in a Lyft, got me a Sauvignon Blanc, sat me down and said, girl, let's work on this self-esteem because this shit ain't happening again. Stop it. That's lady love for you. I am like starting to date again. And a couple weeks ago, I was dating this guy, and great job, takes care of himself, dresses nice, and it was date 3. So I was like, I'm ready. Okay, so like, normally I don't wait that long, let's be honest, but it was a rough time. So normally it's like, oh, backseat of my car, great. Okay. But I was like, okay, it's the 3rd date, so I go to his apartment, and I don't know, we go to his bedroom, and I want to say I was surprised, but I'm not, because this happens to me a lot. Like, I walk into his bedroom, and just based on the layout and decor, I have to ask myself, am I about to fuck a 12-year-old? Because, like, okay, like, there's not a bed frame, right? Like, it's, like, barely on a box spring on the floor, and then, like, the fitted sheet doesn't match the flat sheet, and, like, what he's using as a duvet cover is like a sleeping bag from junior high. So I'm like, okay, we'll just look around. Maybe he's doing laundry, because we like to lie to ourselves. So I look around, I'm like, oh, it gets better. There's an Avatar poster barely hanging from a thumbtack. That's good. And then right by his bed, which is clearly his side, because that's how the bed was made, where you're like, oh, you just sleep there, is a mini fridge that was clearly left by a dumpster that he was like, this is gold. And he's now filled it with PBR and Red Bull. Put a little pep in your step. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And then I like turn over and I like look at the corner and I'm like, there is a gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous, I used to be a real estate agent, piece of furniture. Looks like $3,000, half cedar, half oak, absolutely beautiful. You can tell they're shelves and they slide out. And I was like, oh my, I go, what is that? And he, with as much pride as a man can muster, goes, that's for my high-end sneakers and ball caps. So, I just want to be clear. You want me to go down on you on what looks like a homeless man set up under an overpass. But when it comes to your sneakers, you keep them treads clean, okay? Just fucking go to Target, man. Drop $100. Get a bedroom set, okay? Watch the pussy roll in. Watch that pussy roll. Now, granted, I said Target, so it's not going to be good pussy. But it's going to be pussy, okay? You want that good pussy, you got to get an interior designer named Emmanuel to come over, spend $1,000, see what he can do. Then you're going to get that supermodel pussy. Just ask yourself, would Kate Upton fuck me where I live right now? Probably not. You know who would? Vera, the 56-year-old bar regular who at last call, smoking a cigarette, it's just you two, and she's like, yes, oh, winna, dick for dinner. That's who you're going home with. That's the bedroom you've created. Oh, it's so sweet. I'm just saying, like, but this is where I become, like, maternal, because I'll just start fixing them right away, and I'm like, it starts with interior design, and then it ends with me being like, hey, maybe you should get a different job, start a Roth IRA. I don't know, stop hanging out with your friend Derek, because he's always one cocaine bump away from ruining a fucking party. Stop hanging out with that guy. Start hanging out with Derek. Like, he dresses, like David, he dresses nice. He's a CEO. He has his own home, and he doesn't use Groupon to pay for all of his fucking meals. Like, hang out with that guy. That's when I become a fucking mother. So it's good. I'm really hoping he's not here tonight because I invited him. Ew, that's happened before. Then I'm like, I was so drunk on stage. Sorry about that. So after the breakups, this last breakup was grueling especially, so I decided to go back into therapy. Now, I've been raised Catholic, so like, if you count confessionals, I've been in therapy for 30 years, right? Like, you go tell somebody your sins, they judge you, whatever. Same thing. So my girlfriend had her first therapy appointment last week, and I was like, how was it? What was it like for you? And she goes, well, we just talked about my career, where I want to go. I think we're just, like, getting to know each other. And I was like, that's weird. And she goes, well, how do you do therapy? And I'm like, I think it's just a little different. Like, I look at therapy as a contact sport, and I have to stretch before I go in. Is that weird? She's like, well, what do you mean? I go, okay, so my therapist is named Annie. She's this docile, petite woman about my age, very calm, but holds me accountable and, like, calls me on my shit. It's amazing. Perfect woman. And so she goes, well, how do you do therapy? And I was like, well, like, I'll wait for the door to open for my session to start, and I'll, like, start stretching my hip flexors. Then I'll bulldoze my way in, because I know I've got 50 minutes, 55 if I can make her cry. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got some shit to get off my chest, okay? So I barrel my way through there, and I'm like, all right, this is what happened, Annie. Last time I saw you, I left this building. I gave a guy a blowjob in the back seat of my Nissan Versa, okay? I know you're wondering how he got in the back seat. That's not important. He thought I was his Uber driver. Common mistake. To be clear, Annie doesn't care how he got in my car. She's just wondering why I gave him a blowjob. And then she starts asking those questions about my childhood, and I'm like, yes, I've always had a bad relationship with food. Yes, I started dry humping my pillow at an early age. No, I don't think I was conceived out of love. I think it was a hate fuck. Whatever. Then we go back to the story. So we get back in the story, and I'm like, all right, so after I was done blowing him, I do what most women do after a sex act. I feel the need to feed him. And she's like, that's fucking weird. I'm like, just go with me. So I take him to Del Taco. We get in my car, we go to Del Taco, and I started to feel bad about myself. My energy started to drop. And Annie, you told me when my energy starts to drop to find a way to come back up. If you guys are wondering if you can get cocaine at Del Taco off Sunset and found at 4:30 on a Thursday, you would be correct. So I did all the cocaine. Then after I did all the cocaine, I decided to do a lot of happy hours for about 4 days. I tried ayahuasca for the first time, and the next thing you know, I'm at Jumbo's Clown Room trying to see if I still have it. I don't have it. And then after that, I woke up this morning, took one hot yoga class, and I feel fucking better. Woo! Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. So that's how I do therapy. And my girlfriend's looking at me like, you know, which most people say, well, maybe therapy isn't working for you. And I'm like, no, it is, because I would still be doing all that shit, but I wouldn't have somebody holding me accountable and making me responsible. That would turn me into a monster. That's how Harvey Weinsteins are created. You have to hold people accountable. We live in LA. We should celebrate that joke. I just called him an asshole. My sister told me not to do that joke, too. I was like, you're from Kansas. You don't get us. Yeah, you're right. You got it. My sister's visiting from Kansas City. That's way more people than I've ever had in my audience from Kansas City. That's great. We were talking about the difference between dating in Kansas City and dating in LA. And I feel like in Kansas City, I've had 3 long-term relationships, and they all happened to be when I lived in Kansas City. And I've been here for 8 years, so there you go. And she's sad. Okay, so am I. And I had 3 serious relationships. I had my high school sweetheart, my college sweetheart, and the guy I almost married. Out here, I've dated a guy who's into cosplay, a guy who's lived with his ex-girlfriend the entire relationship, and I dated a 40-year-old who would never tell me for 3 months what he did for a living, but he drove a Tesla, so I'm sure that's on the up and up. And even, I'm like, I don't care. This is fast. You either kill people or sell a lot of drugs. Put your dick in my mouth. But I did break up. Okay, he kind of broke up with me because, like, he disappeared because he probably got murdered by gang members that he works for. I don't know. But even the dating in Kansas City starts out so simple. With all those 3 relationships in Kansas City, you go on a first date, it's great. Second date, even better. And you're like, hey, are we doing this thing? And they're like, yeah. And that's it. You're official. That's all it takes. Out here in Los Angeles, I could be dating a guy for a year, and this has happened, and every text message I get, it'll be like, message from Kevin, and I'll be like, oh, God, this is it. This is where he ends it. This is where he leaves me. He's going to tell me he's fucking my sister or he's gay. It's one of those things. That's it. That's the only options. It's like a fucking panic attack. And breakups, same thing. Kansas City, it was like, hey, we're not good for each other. Like, we're going in different paths, but light and love, let's be friends. And we are friends. In Los Angeles, you either break up because somebody's cheating, ghosting, or one of you guys decides to get sober. That's it. Like, what do you mean you don't do Molly anymore? You know I need it to have fun. You dick, get out of my Airstream. I'm trying to think of where there's Airstreams at. I just pictured, it's my favorite girl. That's actually the Barbie I was earlier, was the Airstream Barbie. But flashing back to my therapist, I should also say this. She's a former actress, and so we would be in one of my sessions, and she's like, I respect how hard it is for you, like you're persevering. I, myself, never liked acting enough to deal with the rejection. So I couldn't do it, so I decided to help people in a different way. And I was like, got it, totally got it. And as she's saying that, I'm clearly looking her up on IMDb, like, what are we talking about here, okay? Well, let me start by saying she was on 4 seasons of ER. She's like, I couldn't hack it. I'm like, my claim to fame is I was on a Nickelodeon show where I played a woman named Luma Jean who gave birth to 6 babies in a sewer while eating a block of cheese. There's a part of you that's going, Nicole the comic just made that up. Google it. There's a picture of me eating Velveeta cheese with a pregnant belly that says #single on it. That was on Nickelodeon. And still getting residuals, and I love it so much. So whoever's... This last year, I had 3 of my close girlfriends get married. Good for them or whatever. But they like to get together and pretty much like live vicariously through my horror stories. Horror, not horror. Horror stories, slut stories. And we'll be sitting around, I was like saying, oh, well, this guy that I'm dating, like we decided to watch porn and then relive what was going on, like in the porn, reenact it from like the blowjob scene all the way to the face cream scene or whatever, you know. Like, and so just like you, they all like went, oh my God, oh that's so, and I'm like, well, what do you guys do? Come to find out, these 3 married chicks, one of them refuses to give blowjobs because she has a sensitive gag reflex. Okay. Second one gives blowjobs, but sets a timer for 60 seconds with her husband. He has 60 seconds to finish or she gets to stop blowing him. And then don't cheer for no, give a normal job. Anyway, so then the third one goes, I've also vetoed spanking because I don't like the marks it leaves. And to be clear, this happened before they ever got engaged. The men knew who they were, and the men still married them. I'm doing Debbie Does Dallas in a community hot tub, and this guy won't accept my Facebook friend request. You know what I'm saying? The fuck? I'm just so lonely. Like, you guys say, like, all the guys are like, I want a lady in the street and a freak in the sheets. No, you don't. You want a woman to be a fucking bitch to you so you can work out your mommy issues instead of having a healthy, grounded relationship with a woman like me who lets you come in her face. You don't actually want that. My sister's going to send this to my dad. It's going to be awesome. My best friend Lisa is actually due any day now with her first kid. And when I was younger, like I knew, like when you're pregnant, no smoking, no drinking, no drugs. But now it's 2017. There's a fucking list of stuff. Like you can't have smoked trout. That's fucking random. We can't have certain types of eggs because of listeria. We can't even go to our favorite coffee shop because caffeine's bad for the baby's heartbeat. I get it, but at that point I was like, maybe I'm not gonna have kids. Although the way I have sex, it's just bound to happen any day. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get knocked up. The kid's gonna grow up to be a toddler and is gonna look at me and be like, Mommy, do you love me? And I'm gonna be like, not as much as sushi and a good Cabernet. That's why your head's bent. I'll give you guys some advice. My mom gave me this advice. She said, never date somebody who's always been good looking, okay? Always been good looking, because if they've always been good looking, they can be good looking now, but if they've been good looking their whole life, they've never had to work for it or hunt for a meal, you know what I mean? Like, if they don't work to get you, they're not gonna work to keep you kind of thing. And so she goes, you need to find an 8 who used to be a 2. And I was like, okay. She goes, somebody with like a little bit of acne or some mild scoliosis in college. Like that's what, like the last guy I dated used to be overweight in college, and he had the added bonus of that Italian nose where it looks like a square peg has been shoved up there because somebody beat the shit out of him a lot. You know what I mean? But between cardio and a good ENT doctor that fixed his deviated septum, he was fucking gorgeous when he got to me. Gorgeous! And I was so lucky because he was hot with low self-esteem. It was fucking amazing. And every time I felt him slipping away, I would just lean in and I would grab what used to be his love handle and I'd whisper, who's mommy's chubby little bunny? He's not going anywhere. Why, ladies? Because you gotta break a horse to make a stallion, that's why. All right, I got time for one more. Why is she single? She's abusive as fuck. Okay, so do we have a lot of alpha females in here? Where are my betas at? See the fucking difference? Alphas are like, kick down a door, what's up, bitch, we're here to play. Betas are like, please don't make me raise my hand, I'm so tired. So I took this psych class in college, and the psych professor said that 60% of all relationships are an alpha-beta combo, meaning somebody wears the pants in the relationship. 35% are a beta-beta combo, most successful, because it's like both people are so passive, who's gonna fucking leave? Nobody. We all know that couple. Oh, they're gonna die together. That leaves the elusive 5% alpha on alpha union, the hardest to find, the hardest to make work, but if you do, congratulations, you're a power couple. It is your Beyonce and Jay-Z, your George and Amal Clooney, your Michelle and Barack Obama, right? But because we run so hot, we run the risk of ending up like Sharon and Ozzy, or Tommy and Pam Anderson, great video, or Whitney and Bobby, yeah, right? You guys, it's really hard for another alpha to find another alpha and make it work. Like, you guys ever wonder why Joey, the only alpha male on Friends, ends up alone, and I'm over here playing Phoebe, diddling my smelly cat? Like, that's it. The thing about being an alpha is I love alpha sex. Alpha on alpha sex, even if it's missionary, it's still like a UFC cage fight. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might not make it out. I don't know. Like, I don't want to know he could kill me. I just want to wonder if he could. Like, if in the throes of passion I call him a pussy, could he snap my neck Black Ops style? I don't know. Let's find out. Last time I was with an alpha, we were in missionary, and he was banging me so hard I started to slide off the bed because he was banging me so hard. And he got mad at me, grabbed me by the shoulders, threw me back on the bed, put his hand on my throat, and he's like, don't fucking do that again. And I was like, oh my God, you're my favorite amusement park ride. This is amazing. This is amazing. Because what am I going to do with a beta? Beta's going to come in. I'm going to take off my shirt, expose my 2 favorite assets, and he's going to look at me like he's going to get nervous, and he's going to be like, oh, okay. Here we go. Sorry, I'm sweating. Do you like this? Oh God, I don't know. I can't. Oh, what if do I slap him? I saw this on Pornhub. Do I slap him? Do I squeeze? I don't know. I'm gonna be like, no, I don't like that. Get the fuck out of here, beta. Your dick should be used as a goddamn doorstop. Get out of here. But on your way out, send your big brother Igor in here. Igor, get in here and fuck me like a White Walker from Game of Thrones, okay? Igor comes in with a gas mask and a flogger. Game on. Mama's ready. That's it. I'm Nicole Burch. Thank you guys so much.